Just watch us live on my phone here.
I think we're.
Are we live?
Yes.
Oh, we are. Okay.
We are live.
Hello, everyone.
Hi, guys. We have a little bit of a lag, I think.
Okay.
Oh no, I think it's okay actually.
Okay, I'm just gonna follow us here for comments. Okay. Oh. All right. Welcome, everyone.
Yes, thank you for joining us and watching us experience some just slight technical difficulties. We're still working with all this new technology, so thank you for waiting. My name is Charlotte Upton, and I am one of the family literacy coordinators here at the NWT Literacy Council, and I also work on the Canada Learning Bond program, which is what we're going to talk a little bit about today.
And I'm Katie Johnson. I'm also a family and community literacy coordinator with the NWT Literacy Council, and helping Charlotte with the Canada Learning Bond project. And we're excited to bring this work that we were planning to do in communities to you virtually today.
Yeah, and definitely feel free if you guys have any questions along the way. Katie and I both have the comments on the live set up. So if you have any questions along the way, definitely feel free to write those down and we will respond as best as we can.
Yeah. Okay.
So we'll just get into the presentation right now. So like I said, we're going to talk about the Canada Learning Bond as well as some of the other Canada education saving incentives. And this is money for your child's future education. So for any post-secondary, that could include trade school, college, university, and kind of why it's important to save and how you can access the Canada Learning Bond and kind of what eligibilities you need to access the Canada Learning Bond.
Okay. Erin, did you have a question? I see that you've put your hand up as your comment. If you have a question.
You might just be waving.
Yeah, just let us know if it was a question and we will be happy to answer. Okay, I think you can go ahead, Charlotte, and I'll watch for that.
Can you flip the slides?
Yeah, they're
up. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we're here to learn about the Canada Education Saving Incentives. And something that you may not know, I didn't really know this until I started working on the program. I didn't know too much about the Canada Learning Bond, but the government of Canada does have money set aside to help make post-secondary education more affordable for all Canadians, and they do that in a couple different ways. One of them is the Canada Learning Bond. They also have different incentives for Canada Education Saving Grants, where it kind of includes you putting money into an RESP, and then the government partially matching some of that. So that's just what we're going to talk a little bit about today. The Canada Learning Bond, different RESPs and different funds that can go into those RESPs. And yeah. So why is saving for your child's education important? $1 a day can make a difference. $1 more today is $1 more than you had yesterday. And with a registered education saving plan, you can help turn your child's dream into reality. It's actually known that if there is money set aside for your children's future education, they will be more likely to attend some type of post-secondary education. So it's a really good way just to save money for your child's future and kind of maybe motivate them as well to think about what they might want to do in post-secondary and what kind of all the opportunities that are available to them. So first, we're going to talk about Canada Education Saving Incentives. So like I said, first, we have the Canada Learning Bond, which we kind of call CLB a lot. We call it CLB for short. There's also Canada Education Saving Grants, which is money that you can put into your RESP, and then the government will partially match some of that. And there's also additional Canada Education Saving Grants for low-income families, which the short form for that is CESGs. But to get any of these benefits, you need to have a registered education saving plan first, because that is where all this money will filter into.
Okay, so as Charlotte said, the Registered Education Savings Plan is where all of the money will get filtered into. So one way to think about it is the RESP is kind of like a bucket, and you or other adults in a child's life can add money into it. And if someone does add money in, then the education savings grant and the additional savings grant will also get added in. And then for eligible families, the Canada Learning Bond will also get added into that bucket. And with the Canada Learning Bond, the family doesn't have to add money. So it's the bucket as the RESP can have any of those four things added in. One big concern we often hear is, will any of these grants, so either the Canada Education Savings Grant or the Canada Learning Bond, will they affect other benefits? And the answer is no. So the Canada Learning Bond and the Canada Education Savings Grant will not affect other benefits from the Government of Canada. So because these funds are specifically for the child to use in their future, it doesn't affect the parents or child's benefits at the present. And also any benefits from the NWT. So in the future, it won't affect their eligibility for student financial assistance or the parents' income support today. So there's a bit of a lag between when I click the slides forward and when they click forward on live. So I'll just wait for it to catch up here. Here we go. So a registered education savings plan is a tool that is used to save money for post-secondary education. And like I said, it's kind of like a bucket that holds all the savings tools. It has to be opened with a financial institution, so a bank, a credit union, some insurance companies sell them, but it is a type of financial tool with each of those things, each of those companies. So often people wonder what their child would be able to use funds in an RESP for in the future. And it can be used for many different post-secondary options. So not just college or university, and not just full-time. So the funding could also go towards part-time programs, distance programs that doesn't have to be full-time university. It can be studies done in Canada and outside, as long as it is an approved post-secondary education institution if it's outside of Canada. And one thing about RESPs is that they can be opened by a relative, a caregiver, a friend, any adult in a child's life who would like to start this can do this for a child. And like I said, it does not affect provincial or federal or territorial income support or student funding programs. They can be open for free. So that's a really important thing when opening an RESP, is that you check with the financial services provider that they offer you plans that have no fees and that don't require family contributions. So if a family is eligible for the Canada Learning Bond and wants to be able to start an RESP and receive the bond, they don't have to put money in. So we want to make sure that the plan they're opening doesn't require that they put money in. And there's lots of different providers and investment options. And we've partnered with Smart Saver, which is a national organization. And so you can use their website, which will list different options where they give you, different providers that give you free options. And so the benefits of an RESP is that it allows access to the Canada Learning Bond and the Canada Education Savings Grant. So both of those funds from the federal government can only be accessed through a registered education savings plan. They will not, the federal government doesn't give that funding in any other way other than into an RESP. And like Charlotte said earlier, there's been studies have shown that children, youth are more likely to attend post-secondary education if there's already money set aside for them. And this doesn't, there's not a connection between a large amount of money set aside and youth looking towards post-secondary, but any money set aside has been shown to increase the likelihood that a youth will be looking forward and interested in post-secondary. And the nice thing is even a small amount of money put into an RESP early can grow over time. And an RESP can be open for 36 years. So a youth who has just graduated from high school doesn't have to use this right away. So if they want to take some time to decide what they want to do, they're going to have lots of time to do that, which is also nice because there's not the pressure to do this right away. Okay.
So like we said, to access the Canada Learning Bond or the Canada Education Saving Grant, you first need to open up an RESP, which stands for Registered Education Savings Plan. And that's where, like we said, all the grants, all the money will go into the RESP is your bucket, and all the money will go into that bucket. To open up an RESP, you need a social insurance number for both the child, who will be the beneficiary of your RESP, and for the parents to set up the RESP. So they both need social insurance numbers. This is a bit of a standstill right now since Service Canada offices around the territory are closed, and social insurance numbers can't be issued offline. They need to be issued in person in the office. But we're thinking now, as restrictions start to lighten and we're going into phase 1 and phase 2, hopefully those Service Canada offices will be opening up soon. So if you don't already have a social insurance number for your child, you will hopefully soon be able to get that. And certain communities actually have those services available. So the subscriber, who would be the person who opens up the RSPs, like Katie mentioned before, this could be the parents, this could be grandparents, aunt or uncles, anyone in the child's life who wants to open up an RSP and save money for that child's future, can be the subscriber, and they would need a piece of photo ID to open that up. And you need birth certificates to get a social insurance number. So there is a fee to get a birth certificate in NWT. It's $22. So yeah, that's kind of all the stuff that you need to open up your registered education saving plan. And here's the life cycle. This is the kind of the best thing about the RSP. You set it up, which, you know, it does take some time, it does take some effort. You need to get a SIN. You need to maybe go to the bank or get it on the phone. There are some online options to set up RESPs as well. But once you've set it up, it will just grow on its own. It'll start collecting interest. And then that's future money for your child's education. So like we kind of mentioned before, this is money for post-secondary education. It can be used for the following. So it can be used for university, community college, apprenticeships, trade schools. I think those are the major ones. Hey, Katie, I know CESG is one, but that's not really much of a concern for us here in the NWT. But yeah, for any post-secondary education, you can withdraw money from your RSP for that. So now we're going to get into the specifics of the Canada Learning Bond. So the Canada Learning Bond, you can get up to $2,000 from the federal government for an eligible child. So the government will deposit $500 when you first open up an RSP for any eligible child. So the very first deposit, if your child is eligible, will be $500. And then every year after that, the government will deposit $100 as long as your child is still eligible, for a total of up to $2,000. And this is, yeah, for 15 years, I believe, 15 years. Yeah, so $2,000, so many things to buy. So if anyone in the chat feels like sharing something that they would like to buy, when I think about when I was in university, I actually, it's funny, there's a computer logo crashing. My computer did crash in first year and I did have to buy a new laptop. And yeah, it would have been great to have an extra $2,000 sitting around. I definitely did not have it. But other things could be maybe fitness classes or getting outside and wellness. Maybe you don't have to work as many hours at your part-time job. Maybe you can treat yourself to some better food, or maybe you can be involved in some more activities that you wouldn't be able to do otherwise without that extra $2,000. So yeah, $2,000, it doesn't necessarily seem like a ton of money, but it grows with interest. And $2,000 to a university, college student, anyone in trade school is a lot of money, and it can really help them out with problems. Maybe it's an extra trip home. Maybe it's better accommodations. There's a lot of options, and you can use your money for whatever you'd like, whatever you need.
So, like we've said, there is no contribution required. So oftentimes the Canada Learning Bond gets kind of confused with the Education Savings Grant, which we'll talk about a bit. But with the Education Savings Grant, families do have to contribute money. Whereas with the Canada Learning Bond, there's no contribution required. At minimum, an eligible child, so a child who's only eligible for 1 year, would receive $500. If they're eligible for 15 years, they could receive up to $2,000. And it is retroactive. So this is really important to know that if there are years in the past that your child would have been eligible, they will still receive all that money that they were eligible for previous years. So even if parents, when you read the eligibility requirements, even if you feel that your child would no longer be eligible, there may still be retroactive funds that they're eligible for from the past. So like I said, that's what retroactive means, and that they will receive all the money that they were eligible for retroactively. They'll just receive that all as one lump sum at the beginning. So to be eligible for the Canada Learning Bond, children need to have been born on or after January 1st, 2004. So children who are currently 15, or I guess some are 16 now, and younger. They must be a resident of Canada. The child needs a social insurance number. And the family net income for this year, so the 2019 tax year, was $47,630. So each year, as the parents file their taxes, the eligibility is assessed based on the family income for the previous year. And then the child needs to be the beneficiary of an RESP. So they need an RESP that's been opened with them named as the beneficiary.
I will add one thing quickly, Katie. For the $47,630, that's for one child. So if you have more children, the income actually does go up, or go up. Yes, so it goes up. So there is some that's for a one child family. So if you have more than one child, you can kind of check on the numbers or ask us about that as well. But yeah, that's for a one child family. If you have more children, the net income does change. The eligibility changes for the net income.
Yeah. So just as a recap, the Canada Learning Bond is $2,000 put into an RESP. It's $500 when you first register, and then $100 per year of eligibility to a maximum of 15 years. That's where the $2,000 total comes in. You must have a social insurance number for both the parent and the child. So if you are an auntie, a grandma, a friend who's interested in opening an RESP for a child, you'll be able to open it, but then the bank will also provide you paperwork for the parents to fill out their social insurance number, because it's the Canada Learning Bond eligibility is tied to the parent's income. And it's retroactive. So funds that a child was eligible for in the past, they are still eligible to receive. And the Canada Revenue Agency and the federal government sends out letters periodically as children or to let families know that parents are or children are eligible. So if you've received one of those letters, that will be the amount that your child is eligible for retroactively, and they may still be eligible for more in the future as well.
So we're going to talk a little bit about the Canada Education Saving Grant. So for short, we call this the CESG. So this is money that the government adds to your registered education saving plan. This money helps pay the cost of a student's full or part-time tuition after high school. So similarly to the Canada Learning Bond, it's just money that will go into your RESP to help your child pay for their future studies, their future post-secondary studies. To get this money, you do need to contribute money into your RESP. For the Canada Learning Bond, you don't need to contribute any money, but to get access to the Canada Education Saving Grants, you do need to contribute money. The basic CESG payments are 20%, so that would be up to $500 a year. So if you contribute $2,500 per year, the government will put an extra $500 into your RESP for your child. So like we said, every dollar kind of counts, and it grows over time. It grows and grows with bigger with interest, and then you have more money for your child's post-secondary education. So I'll quickly talk about SIN cards too. So if you need to get a SIN card for your parent or child, parents more likely already have a SIN card just from filing taxes and working, etc. But children normally don't have a SIN card unless they already have an RESP. So to get a SIN card, you need to go to a Service Canada office. I know a lot of the communities in the NWT do not have their own Service Canada offices, so it might be a little bit slow going for those people to be getting their SIN cards, because I'm not sure when Service Canada will start traveling again to be giving those out. To get a SIN number, you also need a birth certificate. Like we said, it costs $22 to get a birth certificate. And we've listed the link here to get one. You just fill in your form and send it in with your fee to get a new birth certificate, or to get a birth certificate for your child. But yeah, eventually, once you have your birth certificate and once Service Canada offices are open again, that's when you can bring in your birth certificate and your photo ID and then get a SIM card for your child. And to set up an RESP, you can go to your own bank. So if I know a lot of people around the North bank with CIBC, because that's a very popular bank around, maybe TD, whoever you bank with, or you can use another provider. We have a couple online providers too, which is really nice because you can do the entire process start to finish just in one sitting, which is really great. To start online, we've listed a link here, www.startmyrsp.ca. Like Katie said earlier, there's no contribution required to open up an RESP, and you can have a no-fee plan. Interest you can earn kind of depends on what kind of plan you can have. There are a lot of different plans, but your banking provider can explain that to you. And like we said earlier, you need to bring the necessary ID, so photo ID for the parent and the SIN card for the child and parent to open up the RESP. So we, like Kitty mentioned earlier as well, we've been working with a platform called Smart Saver. It's just a really user-friendly platform. The online application takes about 10 minutes to complete. So what you'll do, you'll log on to Smart Saver, which will share the link. There's actually a brand new link for it now later in the slideshow. But you'd put in your information in there, and then Smart Saver will send the information to the financial institution of your choosing. So like I said, maybe you choose to bank with CIBC, so you type in your information and that would go to CIBC, and then they will contact you for a meeting. When you meet, you'll show your ID, so you'll bring your photo ID and your SIN application and start your application. You will not be charged a fee, and you can, and depending on the account you open, and you can start the account with $0 in it. And then your financial institution will send your completed application to the government. And if you are approved, this is specifically for the Canada Learning Bond, the money will be deposited into your new RESP. So how to get the Canada Learning Bond? Like we said, you'd have to have an appointment with the bank to open up an RESP, and you'll ask them to apply on your behalf. After the RESP is set up, they will send your application to CRA and Employment and Social Development Canada. And once your eligibility is confirmed, the money for the Canada Learning Bond will be deposited into your RESP. So once you kind of get through the more difficult steps of, getting your SIN card, maybe getting your birth certificate if you need it. Once you get into the bank, the steps get quite easy and the money will go into your bank. And then, like we said, you can kind of sit, open it, set it up, let it grow, and then use the money for your post-secondary.
We have received questions from parents who have set up an RESP and then later have received a letter saying that their child is eligible, but they weren't receiving the money even into the RESP. And so that's as easy as calling the bank and asking them to reapply. So you as the parent don't have to do an application form to CRA or to the ESDC. The bank will do all of that on your behalf, but it is good to double check, a few weeks after you've been to the bank, double check if they've received a response on your application for the Canada Learning Bond as well. And then for the CESG, it's the same process. You would ask the RESP provider to apply on your behalf. They will send in your paperwork to the CRA and Employment and Social Development Canada. And so that's who's going to check that the child is the right age, that the parent's income is eligible. And then also they'll look at previous years to see if there's previous years you were eligible. And then the difference being is once you have with the education savings grant, is it isn't until you deposit money that the government will then start adding it. But once you have started adding money, it will be an automatic process for the government to add that money as well. And again, it's just a communication between the bank or the financial provider and the government. For withdrawing for an RESP, like I said earlier, they can be left open for 36 years. And that's the age of the account, not the age of the person. So if an account is open when a child is 2, they're going to have 36 years from then to use the funds. So once the child, now youth or maybe adult, is ready to attend post-secondary, they will receive paperwork from their post-secondary institution of choice stating that they're going to be a student. Then, once they have all that paperwork, then the subscriber, so the person who opened the RESP in the past, will initiate the withdrawal, not the beneficiary. So that's important for parents to note, to make sure that in the future when their child is ready for post-secondary, that they're the ones who have to start the withdrawal. And so the subscriber would provide that proof from the post-secondary education or post-secondary institution, and then they'd be able to withdraw the funds. And then the funds can be used by the student for other things. So another program that kind of makes things confusing is the registered retirement savings plan, because that saves people on taxes now, whereas the RESP doesn't save you on taxes now, but saves you on taxes in the future. So usually with other financial tools, anything that you earn money on, you're taxed income on. So if you have investments in mutual, or say in stocks, and your stocks go way high and you make money, you're gonna have to pay income tax on that money you've earned. But with an RESP, you don't. You're not taxed on the money that the parent put in. So if the parent puts in $50, they take $50 back out and there's no taxes charged. That money that has grown is taxed, but it's taxed to the child or the student who is likely going to have a lower tax bracket. So they will have made less money in the year, likely, than an adult who's working full time. So they will pay less tax on it than if the subscriber was the one taxed. So the taxes piece can be a bit confusing, especially where there's other programs that save you taxes now. So basically the other benefit is that the student will be paying tuition or paying fees, which they'll receive a form T4A that they can use to offset the taxes as well. So they have a bit of a cushion there to help them offset that. So the idea is that while the taxes are still charged, there's likely going to be very low. So if you have any questions, like if you already have an RESP or you have questions about your account or about RESP's very specific program things, then you could call the RESP hotline, which is a Government of Canada phone number. If you have questions about how to get started or anything to do with that, then you can email us at nwtliteracy@nwtliteracy.ca. And then Charlotte or I will follow up with you and help you out with getting started, or if you just have any questions. Or if you feel like you're ready to get started on your own, you can also use the mysmartfuture.org website. If you get started on that and have any questions, you also can contact us, and it will be pretty easy to help you kind of walk through the process of it. And like I said at the beginning, this is information that we look to be providing you in person. And so as things change, hopefully we will get out to your communities soon to be able to provide this information. But anytime you have questions before that, please feel free to reach out to us and we will help you however we can.
Yeah, like Katie said, yeah, we have done we've done a training and event here in Yellowknife. We've also had an event in Hay River, a training and event in Inuvik. So we do have some people around the territory who have been trained, and we have been helping opening up some RESPs, but the program is at a bit of a standstill right now. Hopefully we'll be able to pick it back up. But in the meantime, if you have any questions or you'd like to start to kind of get the ball rolling and get things prepared for when those Service Canada offices do open back up, definitely feel free to reach out to us. There are a lot of kids in the NWT who are eligible for this money who aren't receiving it. So, our goal is to have as many of those kids as possible receiving that money and have money put away for their post-secondary education and kind of money set aside for their future.
Yes. So if you have any questions right now, you can add them into the comments. And if not, like I say, here we'll leave this slide up with the contact information, and then we'll also put that as comments because this video will stay up for a bit. And just, I guess, going off Charlotte's last point, we can't help you get the SINs right now. Generally, Service Canada would be traveling to the communities along with us when we do our events. But this is a great time to maybe get the birth certificates and get that part of the ball rolling if you're able to. So then that way, as soon as Service Canada is ready to come into your community again, then you're set to go. And that might be, one step of the process taken care of. So thank you all for joining us today.
Yes, thank you. Thank you guys for joining us. And yeah, if you have any questions, definitely feel free to reach out to either of us. We'd love to help you and give you whatever information we can. Yeah.
So have a great afternoon, everyone. And thank you for joining us on all of our Facebook Lives that we've been doing. They've been really kind of a fun way to still connect with you all, even at a distance. And today's session was the first time that we've done two of us. So please let us know how that worked for you with having two of us presenting and also doing the screen sharing, so we'll try to do more of that in the future where there's more than one host. And if there's any topics you would like us to do in our lives, that would be great. You can just share them in the comments or send us a message. Charlotte is getting our next 2 weeks ready, so we'll be promoting those soon as well.
Yeah.
Are there any highlights you want to tease people with, Charlotte?
People might be having a chance to learn some cool origami, so I'm kind of excited for that one. I'll definitely be following around. I think we have some special guests. I think we have some exciting oral health ahead of us. So yeah, lots of kind of new and different things, and some guest hosts coming up. So it should be an exciting second 2 weeks of May with our Facebook Lives.
All right. So have a great afternoon, everyone.
Bye, everyone. Thank you for joining us.